It's Paul Fuller at the Fire Sector Summit.
So you just had the debate on the night review, the workshop session. Lots of strong opinions come out. What do you think were some of the key points that came from the session?
Well, I think the most important thing about the review is to remember that it's a thought-provoking exercise, and it's been designed to challenge us. It's been designed to challenge some of our myths, some of our preconceptions, and think about how we design the fire and rescue service going forward into the future to service a changing society.
And one of those key suggestions as ways to change was the balance of workforce allocation between RDS and whole-time firefighters. What's your view on that, both in Bedfordshire and beyond?
Well, it was an illustration, wasn't it, about how much, if you were to substitute 10% of your whole-time staffing with retained staffing, you would save costs against the cost of fully staffing it. And in that sense, it's an illustration of what could be saved, rather than, I think, than a recommendation. It points to greater flexibility, though, greater flexibility in the way we manage the workforce, shift systems, the way we respond to incidents, and how we think about resourcing to meet risk at different times of day or risks of a different type.
And so one of the suggestions was that Steve McGurk's come out saying that it's kind of at a tipping point. At what point do you think that at what level do you view you can reduce the workforce down to before it becomes an overbearing risk?
Well, I think we're getting close to a point now where since over the last 2 or 3 years of the austerity programme, we've got to the point where the reductions we're making are really starting to cut into bone now. And so the decisions are becoming increasingly difficult. And I think you do get to a point where you can't just continue to salami slice the organisation and expect it to do the same things. We need to get a very different conversation with government about how the fire service is funded, which is much more about matching the resources to the outcome that society needs or wants.
An interesting point that was raised in the opening session this morning, John Humphreys was asking about the potential for charging for certain services that the service offers.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, there is facilities for charging for non-fire emergencies, and we do that on a cost recovery basis, to be honest, because, as was pointed out this morning, there is quite a strong feeling that people are already paying for the fire and rescue service through taxation. It's a publicly owned and publicly funded organisation. But in terms of actually charging for fires, I think that would be wrong. I think it would discourage people from calling the fire service, which would be wrong. And also at the moment, of course, there's no statutory route to do that.
So do you think that's something that needs to be tackled from a legislative side as to what constitutes a cost call-out and what constitutes a non-costable call-out?
I think we've spent a lot of time on it over recent years about how we charge and what's chargeable and what isn't. And certainly the guidance from government is there, and the legal opinion is there. I don't think I would want to reopen a debate which took us into a question as to whether we should be charging for life-saving services. We have the facility to charge for cost recovery of things which are not core business or not life-threatening. And what it does actually is potentially distract the debate about how we construct the funding mechanism for the fire service in the future more generally.
So if not there, then where do you think further efficiency savings can be made, and how can the system be run if budget cuts continue to take place?
There are quite a number of proposals, constructs, if you will, in the review, and obviously we're giving those quite a lot of thought at the moment. But I think flexibility in crewing, so a bit more imagination, a bit more of a mature conversation about funding and what gets funded are really the key issues over the next couple of years.